Hello and welcome to the NHL Best Bets. Yesterday there were 6 games. We had a picks out of 2 of them, and here are the results. So Montreal, Toronto, like predicted, Toronto was the only team on the ice, and they won very convincingly 5-2. Montreal was complete run over this time, and this may be the case when these teams are facing during the first round of playoffs as well. Then New York Rangers, Boston. New York Rangers haven't recovered from the fightful series against Washington. They were completely dominated by home team, and in the 15 shots in any game doesn't bring total to over. This time it was 4-0 for the Boston, and they didn't need to do too much at the end for this win. I think it could be a bit more if New York goalie didn't make handful of good saves there out of those 34 shots by Boston. Tommy, any comments?
From the New York Rangers, have to say, I don't know if they were still protesting or doing something. It was a horrible game from them. Boston Bruins didn't need to do basically anything to get 4-0 victory. They could have scored a couple of more. Shesterkin was the only player in the goal that actually showed up. So I'm very disappointed of this performance by New York Rangers. They could have at least shown that it's also a hockey team and not just a protesting kind of thing. So 2 goals was the expectation for Rangers. They couldn't score any. So not far still. Boston, if they would have won it, they could have probably scored a couple of more. They kind of let it go after the first period when they got an easy 2-0 lead. So it was this sort of exhibition game for Boston Bruins as well. A good thing for them, they got to try out a couple of new things in power play, for example, heading towards the playoffs. So nice win for them. I'm very disappointed with the New York Rangers again. In Toronto, on the other hand, was a complete different game. We knew what was going to happen. Toronto scored 4 goals in the first period, completely outplayed Montreal, and this is what we've been expecting. Montreal, not that good a team, and especially when they're facing this sort of offensive juggernaut as Toronto is, when they are playing their best, they stand no chance. Their defense is not good enough, and especially their offense cannot produce. So now they scored 2 goals in the end of the game, but that was just for show. So I think Toronto truly deserved this win, and they will be the front runners if these teams, and when it's most likely that these teams will meet in the playoffs. So Montreal needs to start playing very, very ultra defensively if they're facing Toronto, and I don't think that will be enough either.
Yesterday we spoke about big road underdogs. There were 3 teams that we highlighted. New Jersey in New York against Islanders, Buffalo against Pittsburgh, and Chicago against Carolina. And all these teams had very high odds because they didn't have too much to play, and all their opponents were already in playoffs. So they were much better teams. But like many times in the sport, things are not as they look like. New Jersey won on the road, as did Chicago against Carolina. And out of these 2, I think bettors who bet all 3 games, there was a nice profit.
Yeah, exactly. Now we found out we bet on Toronto with lousy odds, won that bet, but had the other one which didn't go. So now we made a loss. So if you would have bet these 3 games, of course, Buffalo did lose, but still with the 2 of these games, Chicago had odds of plus 235, and New Jersey had plus 208. And also a game that we had 50-50, there was 0.4 percentage for Vancouver as well, beating Edmonton. So that was plus 228. So the sort of underdogs, when you have a good chance of winning when you can count this, that if you have 2 out of 4 of these correct, it's enough to make a profit. So that's preferred to the way we were betting, because we had to just choose 2, so we couldn't choose all of these. But still a very good result for the machine, which had of course these 3 big wins correct, and also that Toronto game, so plus 525 from last night, which is an excellent result considering there were only 6 games.
How about overall, when machine has been able to produce predictions for all the games, what kind of numbers in start of the season we currently have?
Yeah, from the start of the season, we have altogether 446 side value bets correct, 374 wrong, which makes a win percentage of 54%, but the profit is 2,060. So an excellent result from there. Almost finished with the regular season, so we're looking into altogether profit from side value about 2,000. From money line, even better, 3,786, and currently with the totals plus 1,865. So let's see if we can break the 2,000 for the totals as well, and maybe 4,000 for the money line, so we get nice even numbers. But this has been an all-time high for the simulations as well. Seems that it's the way that the schedule is built is now favoring the way that the system is calculating these games.
And naturally, there is more games to come tonight. There is 7 games, and we have picks for 2. Hopefully, these are the ones that count towards those nice even numbers in season totals and season side values. Arizona plays against San Jose. San Jose won Colorado in previous game at home. They also beat they won Arizona in previous game what these 2 teams played, and they have been winning both games against Arizona at home. So simulations predict San Jose a clear winner here, and plus 104 odds provide very good value for home team. Even though Arizona has some kind of theoretical chances for the playoffs, in practice they don't. So this is the game where 2 teams are having a good time and playing few games before summer holiday starts. And then Anaheim goes to St. Paul. Minnesota has been playing pretty well recently. They won big guns, and now they face number 8 in the division. So Anaheim hasn't had too much to play for last few weeks, or maybe since start of the season if we check the performance of them. But now under 5.5 goals with minus 104 odds is another good value here based on the simulations. And Anaheim has been a very low scoring team during the season, and Minnesota has been scoring pretty well, but we think that on the road Anaheim is going to the turtle defense, and there won't be too many goals in this game.
Yeah, it's getting a bit difficult to get these picks now when you have the situation that most of the teams have nothing to play for or are already in the playoffs and kind of preparing for that. So it's hard to predict what's gonna happen. But I think these picks represent very well what we think is gonna happen. So San Jose is a lot better team than Arizona. We've seen that throughout the season. San Jose also very up and down team. So we never sure what to expect, but if they're playing as they have now as of late, I think they can be the Arizona team that has a theoretical chance to playoffs, but it would mean that St. Louis can't get a single point from the last games and Arizona would need to win, so that's not gonna happen. So San Jose, a good pick here with nice value of positive odds in the simulations, 56.5% for Sharks, so even there, a lot of value because now they are for some reason underdogs at home by the bookmakers. Like I said, a lot better team. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't win this one. And then in Minnesota or St. Paul, the team they have is not very offensive. They've been able to score a lot of goals as of late. When facing Anaheim that has nothing to play for, they have a couple of injuries. They are probably going to be pretty defensive when going to play on the road. Good goaltending. And overall, these teams have played very close games, 3-2, 2-1. So not a lot of goals scored in any of these games. I think Minnesota is so much better that they don't have to score more than probably 3 goals in order to beat Anaheim Ducks. And also one thing, they want to play for their goaltender, whoever is playing, heading to the playoffs. Starting the season, goaltending was one of the issues they had, at least in a lot of media and a lot of speculations. Now they've shown that that's not an issue. So one thing to go for is that they're probably looking to at least try and play a shutout for their goaltenders. So that's something that they're looking for.
Then we have a repeat of the last season Stanley Cup final, Dallas against Tampa. This is the moment when Dallas most probably will also lost their theoretical chances for the playoffs because they need to win all, and at the same time Nashville need to lose both of their remaining games. So do you think it would be holiday from this night onwards for Dallas?
I do think so. It's a impossible place where they are at the moment. They did lose to Tampa Bay really heavily last time. Tampa Bay played probably one of the better games they have played this season because of facing their rivals from last season's finals. So I think that gave a little bit of a boost to the Lightning team that has been a little bit on-off this season, as we've seen that sometimes they lose to Detroit and then the next day they are the best team again. So I think Tampa Bay against Dallas will be a game where Lightning arrives and comes to play their better hockey, and Dallas seems to be now when the going gets tough, they just disappear. They've been losing a lot of games straight when they had to win these. So I think Tampa Bay will take this. Although in the simulations we have 58% for Tampa, while the odds indicate around 60%. So there is small value for the road underdogs here. So Dallas does have a chance, but I think this is the end of their season.
And similar kind of situation for the value for the road underdog is when St. Louis goes to Vegas. As we speak many times, Vegas has been showing a very strong performance, and St. Louis, I think, needs 1 or 2 points max to secure their playoff spot. And they have many games left, but do you think home team will continue their strong stride, and St. Louis will need to wait 1 more game to be sure for the playoffs?
We'll see about that, but I think that both of these teams will be in the playoffs. They might face each other if Vegas manages to win the division and St. Louis is 4th. So it will be a lot of playoff style hockey, especially because these two teams know each other as well, and their playing style is quite similar. So let's see if we have another one of these boxing matches that already happened between Minnesota and Vegas. Maybe Vegas wants to show that they also are an aggressive team and quite a physical team. So we'll see what happens. In the simulations, we have almost exactly the same numbers as the odds indicate. So 60% going for Vegas. There is a tiny value of 1.2% for St. Louis on the road. They do need still the points more, but I think overtime would be enough. So let's see how that goes.
Let's see how that goes, and let's see how other games go. Tomorrow there are a few early games, so we'll be back then, and we'll review what happened tonight.
See you tomorrow.